You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth's he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. I feel it. You feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
EarthStationWho, a fun mashup exploring over 60 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold on tight. You never know where the crew of the TARDIS is going next.
Hey there, Whovians, and welcome to another episode of EarthStationWho. We are going back to the comics. That's right, folks. We are looking at Missy. That's right. Missy had her own comic. It's really, really awesome, and it's a ton of fun. We have all the, issues here.
Someone's got the single issues.
Yes, really fun stuff. And it was a fun series.
Covers.
Yeah, the covers were fun. The storyline was good. I also, while I was doing this, I also was reading the Joe Martin Doctor stuff. So it's pretty awesome stuff. But we also have these two. It's, fun stuff here. Yeah, where's the camera? There it is.
There somewhere.
Yep, exactly. And so Jody Hauser wrote it and illustrated by Roberta Ingranta. Is that how it's pronounced, the last name? I think.
No idea.
So, if I tortured it, take a drink. Yeah, that's good.
Sorry, Roberta. We're really bad at this.
Yeah, we have always been bad about this. We're, 15 years and counting, folks, and we've been messing up those last names for many a time.
Yeah, I'm not even sure we got Jody's name
right. with us, you never know. You never know.
Is it pronounced Missy?
Missy or is it Missy?
Yeah.
Missy?
But it's going to be fun to talk all about this. It was a 4-issue miniseries put out by Titan Comics about 2 years ago now. And it's a fun series. And we'll talk all about it. And we're going to be spoiling it greatly. Ms. Melanie Dean is not with us tonight because she's going to be at MegaCon running around like a chicken with her head cut off. And she will be representing EarthStationWho while she's there, and all kinds of cool stuff we've got, going on. You know what? It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about this with everybody, but we have a new segment of the show. We enjoyed putting Melanie last week in the Geek Seat. We thought, wouldn't it be kind of fun to bring back the Geek Seat, but with a Doctor Who twist? So starting in this episode, we are going to have the Whovian Geek Seat. That's right, folks. And our first victim is going to be Mr. Howdy himself, Michael Gordon.
Goodness gracious.
So, not a ton of Doctor Who news.
We did get some new writers confirmed for season 2.
Yes, we did.
We did. Yes, I forgot about that.
And I am glad, because it seemed like we had wasn't like the majority of the episodes from last season with Russell T. And then there was a couple of others sprinkled in.
We had 2, including the holiday special by Steven. And then had a couple of other writers sprinkled in throughout the season. But
there are
majority of them.
They announced 4 writers. And so without further ado, I guess I'll try butchering these names.
Okay, everyone have their drinks ready, please.
Juno Dawson is one of them. Anua Elems, forgive me. Pete McTighe and Sharma Angel Waffle. And I am not familiar with their credits. So
Pete McTighe has written for the show before.
Has he?
And I think Juno Dawson was one of the ones who did the podcast series they had a few years ago. I don't know the other one. I don't know the other ones.
Actually, it's got a write-up here on them on the website. Juno Dawson is a #1 Sunday best-selling Times novelist. And this is, she created the first official Doctor Who scripted podcast, Doctor Who Redacted.
Yes. The first official one.
See? if you do a Doctor Who podcast, it is possible to get a job working for officially for Doctor Who.
See?
So, here I thought, doing it for 13 years, that it wasn't possible. But
yes,
she's been doing it in half that time. And I think it says a lot more about her than it does me. But
no comment. I'm pleading the fifth on this one.
yeah. Anil Alams is a writer and curator, published books of poetry. He's won Fringe first at the Edinburgh International Theatre Festival. He's done other plays as well, some of which have played at the National Theatre. Pete McTighe is actually the executive producer and writer of The War Between Land and Sea. And he's also contributed to Discovery of Witches, Wentworth, and The Pact. And Sharma Angel Waffle is Manchester, won the inaugural Channel 4 New Writing Award. And she's written an episode of Dreamland, and that had that series had Freema in it.
Yes.
And she's been in a number of writers' rooms, including Supercell, Renegade Nell, which is a big hit on Disney Plus, and some other shows as well. So so these are some talented folks. I look forward to seeing what they bring to the table, because as much as I like Russell T and his writing, I sometimes thought he overextends himself, and we need new voices, new visions, new takes, I think, a new story. So I'm really happy to see that what these guys bring.
It'll be very interesting to see.
Sounds very promising.
Very much so. And then also did have a passing in the world of Doctor Who. We actually lost Christopher Benjamin. And a lot of folks know him from his work, a lot of it from Doctor Who. He appeared during the Tom Baker era. He was in the Talons of Wei Ching, and it was, he was one of Django and Lightfoot, and so it was pretty amazing. And they were actually at one point being considered for a spin-off.
Yeah, well, they did get their own spin-off with Big Finish eventually.
With Big Finish, they did, yes, but for TV, the BBC was actually considering them, that their characters were so popular.
And I didn't realize that Big Finish series went 13 volumes.
Yep.
That's amazing. But yeah, you're right. Quality actor, been in a lot of other things. He had actually been in an episode of New Who, and fairly recently, I think. And then I think he was on the last Paternoster Gang volume that we reviewed a month or so ago. And I do remember thinking at the time, I'm like, man, we don't probably have much like many of these left with him. So I'm glad that he was able to find success with Big Finish, and he and Trevor Baxter made a good pairing.
Yes, they did. They worked very, very well off of each other. And if you get a chance, folks, listen to some of the Big Finish. It's pretty amazing stuff he did, and the adventures were great. And go on to IMDb and look him up also, because he appeared in a lot of TV shows, not just over in the UK, over here in the States also. So it's pretty amazing what he did. So pretty darn awesome. And Mr. Mike, you were just telling us right before we went on the air about a new book that is coming up.
Yeah, Penguin UK announced that they've got a Doctor Who book coming out in August, which is the first Doctor, which you don't see those, I don't think, very often, the novelizations with the first Doctor. And this one is got my attention because it is Doctor Who Dracula. The description says, on what they hope is going to be a holiday, yeah, right, on Doctor Who, the Doctor and his companions arrive in a quiet, unassuming seaside town called Whitby. The terrible significance of the place evades them until they happen upon a theater production that captivates their attention. Dracula! Suddenly, murders are occurring left and right and center. But the TARDIS team quickly realizes you can never trust a vampire. This is written by Paul Magrs, Magrs, who apparently has done some other work for Doctor Who as well. I'm not really sure about his writing credits, but I'm a big Dracula fan, and they've teased vampires. I mean, just last year we re-reviewed Vampires in Venice. There's always a Doctor Who twist on vampires, though. They're vampires, but they're not quite vampires, so I'm kind of curious what they'll do with this. And the Doctor has met fictional characters before, but this sounds like it's much more of a a play on Dracula. So
yeah, sounds more like almost like a Jack the Ripper type of thing, like a murder mystery type of thing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but it's got my attention. So this one should be back. It's going to be in paperback and ebook, available at all the usual places. And like I said, it's slated to come out at the end of August 28th, I think, is what the schedule date is.
I'll be very curious to see which companions they have. If it's Susan, Ian, and Barbara, or
I think Barbara was on the cover.
Yeah, the cover has the first Doctor and Barbara. And the doctor is holding a wooden stake, a la Buffy, and Barbara's got a wreath of garlic around her neck. So
as you do.
So,
oh, there you go. Very cool. That sounds really, really interesting.
Yeah, it sounds fun. I think I might pick that one up.
Yep,
we might have to review it.
Cool.
Yeah, it'd actually be fun to review a book. We don't do it very much.
Yeah, we never do books on this show. You know.
Hey, anything to avoid Trial of Time Lord.
Exactly. So there you go. So I think we'll have to do the whole Adventures of Frobisher, the Penguin. I think sometime.
Has that all been collected? I wonder.
I don't think it has, actually.
Yeah,
Which
I don't know.
Bad.
I haven't seen anything.
Yeah. It'd be also kind of fun to do one of the Frobisher stories from Big Finish, too.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird because I've never heard, I can't imagine what he sounds like.
What does he sound like?
Well, if I remember, I think he sounds like a Humphrey Bogart type thing because originally he was a detective,
Oh, interesting.
Type thing who was hired to track down the Doctor, and he actually liked the Doctor so much he became the companion. So
interesting.
Mm-hmm. So the joy of remembering the comics from all those years ago. As I like to say, I can't remember what I did yesterday, but ask me about a comic from 30 years ago. I'm right there. It's perfect.
Well, they can bring back Beat the Meat. They can bring back Frobisher, so who knows?
That would be awesome.
I just checked because the link with the Dracula book also points out that there is a novel coming in April 24th, called Doctor Who, Frankenstein and the Patchwork Man. And it is with the Ninth Doctor and Rose.
I'm out.
Where they meet up with a scientist who has taken upon himself to create new life, imitating Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So we've got, looks like Doctor Who is dipping into the monsters.
Well, they kind of did that with the Brains of Morbius, too.
Yeah, they kind of did.
So, because there's a touch of the Mary Shelley in that one, too. So,
and that one's written by Jack Heath, who I don't think has done Doctor Who books before.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him.
So yeah, looks like they're trying to tap into that universal horror monster fad.
Yeah, why not?
From like a long time ago.
Well, you know how timely the BBC are.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing, like Universal just opened up a new park all around them. So I don't know. Maybe they're looking to get in on some of that action too. I don't know. Yeah. But in any case, I mean, it's all public domain stuff, so why not, right?
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Mike Gordon's just wasting time right now because he's afraid to be getting back into the geek seat.
Yeah, man,
he should be afraid.
It's been like 15 years, right, since I've been in the geek seat.
You probably still haven't recovered.
I mean, I think I can finally sleep a few hours in a row, but
Well, all that's going out the window.
He starts yelling the answers to the questions in the middle of the night.
It's terrifying.
All right, I'm ready. Strap me down and hit me up.
Let's strap them down to the seat. For those who aren't familiar, we had done on EarthStation 1 for just about 14 years. We did a series called The Geek Seat. We had celebrities, we had other podcasters, we had artists, we had writers, we had folks who were on the show with us. All took a shot at the Geek Seat. Most of them survived, which is pretty cool. But,
barely.
Yeah.
Barely. But you know what? I think it'll be kind of fun to do this. And I know to keep you waiting any longer, here's the first question in the Geek Seat. Mr. Mike Gordon, who was your first doctor?
My first doctor was the fourth doctor. Tom Baker was my first doctor. And I struggle to remember the first time I saw Doctor Who as a series, but I do know I was growing up in Massachusetts, and the local PBS station, the Boston PBS station, was showing it in the afternoons, and they were showing one episode every night, weeknights, Monday through Friday. But it was on, I think, around 6 or 7 in the evening. So they were definitely breaking them up to individual episodes, because I know in some markets they were put together like movies.
We showed the whole stories together. I think that's what they did here in Atlanta.
So but no, I do, and my earliest memory is, I believe, with the Fourth Doctor and Leela. I believe that that's true, but I don't know for sure. But I do know that Tom was the doctor for sure, and that he was, he's still who I think of. If you say the doctor to me, boom, that's who I think of. And everybody else has had to compare. And some, it took me a while to reconcile that other actors could play the doctor. So I took a break after Tom left. I didn't watch it for a long time.
Well, totally makes sense. What doctor would you want to travel with?
See, this is a different and interesting question. Because there are lots of things. I had to think about this one for a little while, because I was like, I landed on the second doctor. Patrick Troughton's second doctor seems like I like the vibe of his TARDIS. People seem pretty welcoming. He seems fun to be around. The companions that he has usually seem to be having, decent time, and he doesn't treat them like morons, even if them might be. And I like the vibe of the second Doctor, and it just seems like it would be more fun than some of the others. Some of the others involve like a lot of running and really a lot more life endangering things. Not to say that they didn't happen with the second Doctor, but it just seemed like it wasn't as intense traveling with him.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. What doctor would you not want to travel with, though?
The sixth Doctor, Colin Baker. I don't like very much about the sixth Doctor.
You don't want to be strangled.
I would not. Yeah, that's a hell of an introduction. That's a first impression that I'm like, yeah, I'll pass. Thanks.
But you don't want to be stuck in the TARDIS with Perry? No.
Hey, look, if the question was you have to put up with their companions too, then it gets a lot more interesting. but if it's just me and the Doctor, yeah, I just don't find that the sixth Doctor and I have a lot, to really, and after a while that jacket I'd have to tear it up.
Yep, totally makes sense. What kicks you out the most about Doctor Who?
The format, the cliffhanger format, as well as the format of the way they tell stories. It invites endless possibilities, but it also celebrates diversity. And like no other show that I've ever encountered. I'm a big Star Trek fan, but even Doctor Who takes it to another level as far as the kinds of stories that you can tell. And I really, really, really loved Craig Ferguson's take on it, where he basically says it's about the triumph of intellect and romance over brute force and cynicism, and that just is a perfect summation to me of what makes Doctor Who so cool.
Sure. No, totally. What turns your geek off about Doctor Who, though?
Bad showrunners.
Aha! We are looking at you, Chris Chibnall.
Like, how long has it been since we started this?
When did that? 15 minutes,
but
maybe.
Forgive me, all the people who love him, and I know they do, and I certainly mean no disrespect, but John Nathan Turner is not my favorite showrunner either. That era is one that I don't connect with at all. So, those two periods of Doctor Who are really tough for me to get through. I like most of the others, but I think a bad showrunner just taints the whole thing.
No, makes total sense. Which Doctor Who companion would you like to meet the most?
So easy. Sarah Jane Smith.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have a feeling she's going to be the number one answer.
I mean, if she's not, I don't, whoever, whatever. I'm not going to judge anybody, but man, Sarah Jane, I would love to have her be my best friend. She's just awesome.
Course. Very much
really,
so.
really bummed that I never got a chance to meet Elizabeth Slade.
Which Doctor Who villain would you not like to meet?
Since, I guess he was on my mind too because of what we're talking about here, but the Delgado Master, I don't want to be shrunk into a little action figure guy. I mean, some of the other ones will kill you. I think the Daleks will, obviously will lay you out, and that's not a great way to go. But being shrunk to a little person, and then, like a little figure, and then played with and tormented and stepped on or whatever, that's just terrifying to me. So yeah, that would be the worst for me.
Yeah, it's not even an action figure size. You're actually even smaller.
Yeah, you're just, it's just, oh man, that's just a terrible way to have your last days go.
What was your favorite Doctor Who geek out moment?
50th anniversary special, The Curator.
Who knows?
Who knows? As soon as I heard the voice, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I got goosebumps, goose pimples, whatever you want to call them. I got chills. It just, in a way that, Doctor Who has thrilled me before, but that was just tapping into my first Doctor experience, the nostalgia. Seeing Tom again was just incredible. And that capped off an already amazing 50th anniversary special. Like, that whole story was so well done and so fun and great. And then at the very end, like I said, you hear him before you see him, but that voice. And oh man, that was just amazing. And I'm glad they got him at that time. It was perfect timing. I love Tom and everything, and I wish him, all the best. But as he's gotten older, it's just like, I'm glad we just got him when he was still kind of like Tom,
Mm-hmm. Nope, totally makes sense. What was your most disappointing Doctor Who geek out moment?
We're going to go back to Chibnall.
Okay. Wow. I have a feeling we're going to be hearing a lot.
You look up disappointing and Chibnall's in the dictionary.
And specifically the handling of the 13th Doctor.
Sure.
It was so important to the franchise, and I just feel like he got it wrong in almost every way he could have. The only thing he did right was he hired Jodie Whittaker.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
The writing, the way she was presented, everything else around her, giving her way too many everything else he did was terrible. And I just thought that was a disservice to her character, disservice to her as an actress, and a disservice to the whole franchise. And that's my most, when I look back, that should be a triumphant moment in the franchise. And instead it's just like, oh yeah, that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I could see that. I totally could see that. What or who would you like to see on Doctor Who?
I'm going to be perfectly selfish here and say me. I'd love to have a Doctor Who credit of a related credit in Doctor Who, a Doctor Who related project in some point in my life. That would make me the happiest I could be. That would just be so amazing. We know a lot of people. We've talked to a lot of people who've gotten to work on Doctor Who, whether directly or indirectly, and just to have that on your portfolio, I mean, it would just make me smile for the rest of my life. I have to say, like, selfishly me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, even if it's running out and being like, even if I'm in an episode where the master shrinks me to a little dude.
No.
I can still say, that's me.
That is you. Well, Mr. Mike Gordon, you are the first guinea pig, and you have made it through the Whovian Geek Seat. Congratulations! No problem.
Man, that was tough. Now,
just our admiration.
Now I'll go back to sleepless nights. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's always good to do.
We have to keep you on your toes.
And if you at home would want to be part of the Geek Seat, we'd take a shot at it. Please write us feedback at EarthStationWho.com. We definitely would love to hear from you guys about it. So definitely, as we continue on, we'll be having different folks, joining us every time, including the hosts here. We're going to be taking times at it. But, we figured, why not throw Gordon into it first? So it's a good thing.
It's my cross to bear since I sort of created the original. So
exactly.
And you're still paying for it.
Yeah, you are so paying for it.
So, what comes around, it's karma. That's what it is.
Cosmic karma, dude. Cosmic karma. All right, let's take a quick break. We will be back in a moment, and we'll be talking all about Missy.
In the Cosmic Pizza Podcast, your pizza delivery guys,
Paul, Dan, Sean,
Casey,
discuss literally anything in the universe.
Conspiracy theories, pod racing, general pop culture.
Our top 3 films of the decade, famous people we confuse with each other, and our favourite stand-up comedians.
Women in comedy, voice actors, film directors and producers, authors.
We've recast Star Trek and Babylon 5 and created alternate superheroes.
But most of all, we have had so much fun doing it.
Cosmic Pizza Podcast is not about the cosmos, all about pizza.
So that makes sense.
Welcome back to Earth Station Who. We are now going to be looking at Missy. That's right. 4-issue miniseries. It's also out in trade on Amazon or wherever you find your comics at, or comic shops, or wherever you feel like going and giving your money away to. It's always a good thing to do, and Doctor Who stuff is always great to pick up. So we'll go around and get initial thoughts originally, and we'll start with Mary this time.
Okay, I have mixed feelings about it because the artwork was fantastic, the coloring was great, the layout and design was beautiful. The story, I'm not even sure I'd call it a story because it's really just a bunch of scenes strung together of them, going back to visit past selves. And I'm not saying some of those scenes aren't fun. They are. And I do like the characterization of Missy and Delgado. So, I mean, there's a lot to like with it. I would say people should read it, but I felt like the story kind of let me down because there really wasn't much of a story there.
Okay. That totally makes sense. And Mr. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, this was created to mark the 50th anniversary of the Master's first appearance. So it's sort of like a 50th anniversary special, right? So going into that, I think it could have just been, to Mary's point, it could have just been like a one-shot special. Like it didn't need to be like there's a lot of padding here. A lot of padding.
A lot.
This could have just been like a one-issue thing. And it would have been fine. It would have been great. I didn't hate anything that I saw, but I just kind of felt like it was spinning its wheels. Now, I've read Jodie Houser's work on Doctor Who before. She's done, I think I've read like 3 or 4 volumes of her 13th Doctor. And I've enjoyed those quite a bit. In fact, I think I liked them a lot because at the time I was reading them, it was so much better than what Chibnall was doing. Didn't know this was going to turn into a Chibnall bash fest, did you? Well, you should expect that on this show. So I know Jodie knows Doctor Who. She understands Doctor Who, and she does have fun here. I do think that she gets Michelle Gomez's voice. Like there was not a time where I was like, yeah, I can't picture Michelle Gomez doing that. And to Mary's point, the art is amazing. She gets her poses. I mean, you can actually sort of see Michelle Gomez doing things, gesturing and posing in ways. I think that's well done, but there's not a lot of substance here.
No, I agree with that. It wasn't a very deep story. I did, when reading it, I was hearing the voices. I will give it that.
Mm.
Yeah, I think the characterization was spot on. Yeah.
Oh, very much so. And I love that Missy was pretending to be Doctor Who, as she was calling herself.
Yeah.
I could just picture it to her. Like I could hear it in Michelle Gomez's like accent, like like I can just picture it. It just sounds so funny, like whenever she says it. Probably she's got that musical way of talking that
But I loved, hearing Delgado's voice, hearing, Capaldi's voice, and hearing, even, Pertwee's. And it was interesting. And it did feel like, Master, this is your life, type thing. And that got old very quickly, and they even went into their own future. And, you saw the Sacha Dhawan, Master with the 13th Doctor in this. So it was interesting. And, the John Sim one, I'm hungry, feed me, it's like.
Yeah, we didn't need to revisit that part, actually.
My favorite, but we get the comment from Missy going, that was my emo face.
Yeah, okay, that was funny. That was funny.
That was perfect. That was worth it. Like, put it in there just for that. And look, that when the two of them shared the screen together, which is the only time we've seen the Master and Master on television together?
Yes. Ever.
That was pretty awesome. Like, yes. So that was nice to revisit. And I mean, I don't know if we don't know when this takes place and all of that. So it's kind of up in the air, and it's not really strictly, canon, so to speak. So
no.
I don't take it that seriously, but it was kind of fun.
Well, I've kind of felt like it took place in that final Capaldi season when he was trying to rehabilitate the Missy.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so, I felt like, because even at the end, hey, I trusted you, this is, and this is what you did, type thing. And she said, and she was like, I didn't kill anybody this time, So, and, I liked how they tied in the whole thing with the storm cage, and you got to see River, and,
I was like, man, how can this happen at Storm Cage without River's got to make an appearance.
Yeah.
She does. She does, but
she makes a cameo.
It's all too brief.
Yes.
But this isn't a River story, so.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, it's the party line too. I mean, I'm really tired of River shows up only to pine for the Doctor.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I'm over that. I'm sure River's over that too.
She's much more of a character than that. But it actually almost completely felt like it tied in with what we reviewed the last time with the Diary of River song with the unit stuff.
Mm-hmm. So there was definitely that because of the third Doctor and the use of the Master here, right? So because this is the same Master,
exactly. So I thought that was interesting, and could it have been better and Missy used better? Of course, type thing. Because I thought she was much better used in the Big Finish stuff that we reviewed. And everything.
Yeah. I mean, you've got Missy who's trying to con the Master, and we know that Missy's not really Doctor Who, and we know that the Master's going to find out eventually, and that kind of just goes on too long because the Master is not dumb. None of the versions of the Master are dumb. So
no, not at all.
The fact that they wait till the fourth issue to kind of reveal that, I mean, it should have been something a lot cleverer. And then at the end we have the Doctor facing off against two Masters, Missy and the Master, and that's scary. Like he hasn't had to do that before. So like, how does he arrange that? And then, but it's Missy who saves the day. Like, I think that, you can still do this in a way that it would have been structured better. Yeah. I don't know if Jodie didn't know it was going to have to be 4 issues and she just sort of pads it out or what. But, I kind of feel like that's the feeling that I got though, is like, she's writing a 50th anniversary special. And then Titan's like, no, it has to be 4 issues. So, dump some more stuff on there.
Right. It's
none of the cliffhangers were that exciting.
No, the cliffhangers weren't exciting. But also, how many pages did they waste on sword fighting in this thing?
Yeah. There's a ton of
It's cool, man.
Wow. But over and over again, there's a ton of filler.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I felt like. I thought it was a lot of fluff. And I've read some amazing, Doctor Who stuff through Titan and that they've done over the years. And, I was excited to see it. I was also reading Joe Martin, Doctor Who comics also. And with the Renegade Doctor.
And Jodie writes those too, right?
Yes, she does. And those are better done. They're better stories. And it's, there I think she had more freedom because, this is a whole brand new character and a whole brand new world, basically, in the Doctor's era. She didn't have to tie it all together.
Yeah. I mean, you never know with these things just how much the writers have been dictated to.
Right.
Like if somebody told her, you're going to write that, they're going to go back and revisit past
selves. What's even worse is like, she's got a plan to do this, this, and this. And then late in the game, BBC people come and say, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. And she's like, like now I got to change around everything. So,
right.
Yeah.
You don't know how much stuff was ripped out, from the story or whatever. Oh, you can't use Tom Baker or you can't use, any of the other Doctors like Ainley's Master or, stuff like that. Because a lot of the Masters, other, iterations of it, they just had them all on one page, like flashes real quick.
Yeah, I think if this was really going to be more of a celebration and more of a plan involving the Master, like it would have been cool to see Missy like go up against or have all of them. Like each issue is a different version of the Master or something. I think one of the box sets does that, right? Like yes. I think one of the box sets we have Michelle Gomez's Missy meeting other incarnations of the Master. Am I remembering that right? Or
there was one that was just called Master.
Yes, that's right.
And it had just different stories with different Masters. And
I think we did that one, right? Because that's got Eric Roberts and
right.
That was the first time Eric Roberts had played the Master again since the TV movie, and since then he's done a lot more Big Finish and everything.
Yeah, like this would have been, when they celebrated, up to the 50th, the biggest celebration was like the 5 doctors. Well, here, but it could have been like the 5 masters, and how fun would that have been? So, but like I said, we don't know what Jodie was told or not told to do or whatever. But all we can do is go by this. And look, it's not terrible. I'm not telling people don't read this or check it out, because I think if you can get it at a decent price, which you should be able to do, because most places will have the trade at a discount. Although try to shop locally, people, please.
Of course.
And then you might even find the single issues in the quarter bin.
Oh, ow. I paid full price for those. No.
Hey, I'm saying, well, the quarter bins aren't quarters anymore, but they're usually dollar bins now. But I think like you said, there's a lot to look at. It looks great. Roberta Ingranata does a great job, and the coloring, and Richard Starking always does great lettering. So I mean, it's a professionally made book. It looks great. I don't know if Michelle Gomez's people looked at it to make sure that she was great looking in each shot, but she is. Mm-hmm. And that just makes me miss her as Missy. I hope we haven't seen the last of Missy.
Well,
if we want to dial back to my geek seat answer, what do I want to see in Doctor Who? I want to see Missy come back in some way.
Sure.
Because
it was wonderful
I love her.
To see, but I know she's done with Big Finish for right now, she said.
Yeah.
Everything.
Well,
she said
the character is so good. It's so fun. And I don't even think they scratched the surface with what she could do. So I would love to see her back, go up against Shooty and Missy. Come on, man. That is just...
Oh, that would be amazing. Just amazing.
So
yeah.
Would it be great if Mrs. Flood took off a mask and it was Missy under?
I'd be like, yes, Michelle Gomez is back.
Exactly.
But
that would be awesome.
It's such a masterful performance, if you'll pardon the pun, that even in something like this, I can visualize her. I can hear her say this, and she, even though Michelle Gomez had nothing to do with this, she helps enhance it by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It made it enjoyable because I was actually hearing her, and credit to Jodie and Roberta for capturing her. Because I just was like, this is cool. We get more Missy, which is not a bad thing.
Not at all. Not at all. Completely. And that's kind of the fun stuff of it. And, would I read another Missy series? Hopefully, possibly, because I like the character, but I hope it's better than this one. I really hope it's better.
I mean, I would read another one, but just because I like Missy.
Right.
And I will say that it says a lot about the character of Missy that she almost gets away with it. She can almost carry this just because it is so much fun. Mm-hmm. Living with the character, and they do get the characterization right. I mean, that they do really well.
And she is not completely defeated at the end.
No, she's not.
She's got herself a key.
Yeah.
So she does.
There is another story to be told here. So I know that this came out in 2021. Now it's 2025, and I haven't heard anything that a follow up. But if Jodie was writing a sequel to this series or another comic with Missy in it, I would check it out.
God, 2021. God, I feel old.
Well, 50 years in the master.
Yeah,
that's true. That is really true. So I thought it was okay. Was it the worst thing I've read? No. Was it the best thing? No. But it was better than most of the Chibnall stuff. So there we go.
Yeah.
Not a high bar.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts before we go ahead and rate this one? 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best.
It does have a lot of Easter eggs in it. I mean, we've
Yes, it
talked
does.
about a couple of them,
Yeah.
but there were some that I didn't catch, but I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah. So, um, my other second favorite Missyism, or a thing that Missy does, is when she's described, like, it's always fun to hear her talk about human beings. But when she, when she, when the Delgado Master asks her about one of these humans in particular, she's like, "Oh yeah, I know him. He's Wimple Punkerson Smith." She just
Right.
makes up this
That was
name
great. Yes.
about how like it's so funny, and how he's a murderer and a jaywalker, and
Yeah.
he deserves to die or get eaten or whatever. And it's just like, I mean, it's just so delicious. She's so
Oh, yeah.
delicious.
And she so sacrifices that guy to, this master.
She doesn't care. She's just
She
like,
doesn't care. She just
well,
like,
she's feeding
I'm
herself.
getting out of here. Yeah, exactly. So
Because all of these, except for one, are versions of her. So she has to make sure that nothing happens to any of these, right? Because that puts her in
It's their
jeopardy.
prior versions, right?
Right. But they're looking at their future self through a window anyway. So that's like, they didn't have anything to worry about with that.
Wow.
And yeah, and then, and I love how she referred to Clara. I love that. That was my companion. What was her name? Laura, Karen, whatever. And then Capaldi came in, of course, on the tank playing the guitar and everything. It was awesome. So, all right, I'll go pick Mary, ladies first.
Oh boy, I have such mixed feelings about this. I think I'll even rate it on a higher side. I'll give it a 3.5, and I'm going to give it the 0.5. I would rate it a 3 because I think the story's just kind of not there. But everything else is done so well. I mean, the characterizations, the design, the artwork, the lettering, the coloring, all of that, the flow. I mean, that part's done really well. And I would say go out and get it if you're a Doctor Who fan, especially if you're a Missy fan, because the character of Missy is still extremely fun, storyline or no. Just getting to spend time with Missy is well worth the price of the comic.
Oh yeah, very much so. Okay, Mr. Mike.
Yeah, I'm much the same way. I was going to say 3, but then I upped it to 3.5, and mainly I upped it to 3.5 just because if you get the trade, and I think the single issues had these covers too, but the trade has this beautiful, gorgeous cover. Like this cover alone,
that is a great cover.
And this cover of like the master, like this is it, like those two, like just as poster art, is worth the extra point or half point alone.
That almost looks like Maddox artwork, actually.
Yeah, it's very Maddox-esque. I don't know. I do know. I can find out real quick who did that. It is the connecting covers. Claudia Caranfa,
Drink.
And she did all 4 of them.
Yes.
So I guess you could get, if you got the 4 issues, you could get each one.
Yes.
But man, Sasha looks badass in that.
Yes, he does.
So just for that alone. But yeah, it's solid. But I definitely encourage people also to check out Jodie's other Jodie's writing Jodie, because the 13th Doctor stuff that she writes is pretty fun.
Cool. All right, I'm going to give this one match up with these guys. I'm going to do a 3.5. I was going to do a 3, but the artwork pushed it up for me. It really did. It's a fun story overall. It's popcorn, basically. It's something that you'll rush through. You'll read it in an hour. It doesn't take long to read all 4 issues, but it's Missy. If you like the character of Missy, if you like the character of the Master, you're going to get a lot of it, and it is and ties in with all the different eras of Doctor Who, and anything from the 3rd Doctor on, it takes effect with. So definitely check it out. Like I said, support your local comic shop, and probably find it there, or they can order it for you, or if you so be it, go to Amazon to check it out. We don't get paid by them anymore, so we don't like bringing them up as much as we used to. But we definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. So please check it out. Feedback at EarthStationWho.com. If you made it this far into the video or listening to the podcast, please like and subscribe. We would really appreciate it. And if you get also a chance, this episode is brought to you by the fine folks at the ESO Network Patreon, our new sponsor. That's right. The fine folks at Patreon have reached out to us, and we are now sponsored by Patreon. So there you go. And you can help support the ESO Network, which is the home base of Earth Station Who. You could go to patreon.com/ESO Network, and you could, for as little as $1, you could help support us, have a lot of fun, and you get some of the show a couple days early. In a couple other shows, you have Earth Station, ESOBS, or Board Silly, as we like to call it. And we also, of course, have a couple of the other shows. The Dragon Con Report goes up there early, and also Kevin Eldridge does, from the Flopcast, his comic reviews are up there also. So lots of cool stuff going up there. And when I get a chance, I also put Tales from Hollywoodland up there also a couple days early. That's when I have time. So it's always good to do that. But you also get some swag. You also could do different levels. But all that goes and helps support the fine folks at the ESO Network. So please check it out. Patreon.com. All right. That's going to wrap us up for this week. Let's thank our crew for being here. Ms. Mary Ogle, thank you so much. And we'll be seeing you in a little over a week.
Yes, very soon. I'm really looking forward to it. Yay, Pensacon!
Pensacon. If you're going to be in the Pensacola area from, I think it's the 14th through the 16th of February. So you'll have a couple days before. Definitely check it out. We're going to be at Pensacon. We have 4 panels scheduled. We just don't have the schedule yet. I was hoping to do it, but you look on Facebook or any other social media that we're up on. We will have our schedule up there as soon as it's available to check it out. And we will be having a Doctor Who panel. So, I think sadly, Mr. Mike Gordon will not be joining us for the show.
But you can see my not so mini me.
Exactly. Dave Chapman will be cosplaying as Mike Gordon. So it's pretty awesome. So drop by, say howdy. We'd definitely appreciate it. Mary Ogle, do you want to promote your artwork?
You can find me at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Excellent. And Mr. Mike, you will be missed this next week.
I miss seeing you guys. Have fun. Have a blast. I wish I could be there.
We would love to have had you.
We'll really miss you.
Well, we'll raise a drink to you while we're there.
Or 2 or 5.
Or 3. Yeah.
I'm sure. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be very cool to do. What's going on over on Bat Chums?
Bat Chums, we're still recording episodes, reviewing and recapping the 2nd season of Batman 66. We just did a crossover episode with the Monkeying Around podcast here on the ESO Network. So we were on their show, and it looks like they're going to be on one of our shows up and coming as well. So that was a lot of fun. And we've got some, in addition to the regular material, we've got some stuff that we've recorded that we're going to be releasing for patrons as well. So look for that. And same thing with the Dragon Con report. We just started that up again. We are looking forward to 2025. And in addition to the regular episodes, which you can get on YouTube or listen wherever you find ESO network shows, we also have an exclusive reading of the guests, which we butcher. If you like listening to me butcher names, then that is the show for you. So that's available to patrons, and we record that special every month as well.
Awesome. And you might hear your favorite guests named up there, and their names tortured.
I was going to say, yeah, if there's some people that come to Dragon Con all the time as guests, and you've always wanted to hear their name butchered, then tune in.
Aha. All right. Over on my other podcasts that I produce, Tales from Hollywoodland. We are doing a Hollywood cornucopia, and it's just a general movie talk, and we're going to be putting that out by the time this episode goes live. And then over on Julian Schlossberg's movie talk, we are talking to Sarah Jessica Parker this week, and it is a ton of fun. Super nice. She talks about Square Pegs. She talks about her work with Steve Martin, LA Story, and some of the other projects leading up to Sex and the City, because there's only so much you could fit into an hour of a podcast. So Julian will be having her back again, but definitely check it out. Both podcasts are available wherever fine podcasts are found. So very cool stuff. Thank you guys for listening. We love you guys. And you know what? We'll see you guys hopefully at Pensacon. That'll be before our next episode. And we will be recording our panel at Pensacon for our next episode. So we will be talking all about Doctor Who with a bunch of live folks. It's been a while since we've actually done a live episode, so it should be a ton of fun. Until then, my name is Mike Faber, and on behalf of Mary and Mr. Gordon himself, say howdy, Mr. Mike. And if you ever see him in public, he always loves it. So we would love to see you guys out there sometime. Peace. And by the way, if you're at MegaCon, look for our friend Melanie. She definitely will have a table, and just walk up to her and say howdy. She'll know what it's about. She definitely will. Peace. And we are done. Bye. See ya.
You have been listening to EarthStationWho, a pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from throughout space and time. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individuals and are to be used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our show wherever fine podcasts are found, or check out our website, EarthStationWho.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and if you enjoyed the show, please write to us at feedback@EarthStationWho.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next journey of Earth Station Who.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.